Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Heidi with Onigo Stamping, and welcome to my craft corner. I am so excited that you are joining me this evening. I have some great projects to share with you, and we are going to be using the Welcoming Window stamp set and the matching dies. Now, these stamps and dies, we just found out they are going to be retired at the end of April. And they are on special for the month of March. So if you want them, I would definitely grab them in March. They're 20% off for the bundle, which is a fabulous deal. Before I get started, if you have any questions about stamping or Stampin' Up, I would love to answer those for you. Just go ahead and leave me a comment and I'll see what I can do. If you ever need any help with anything, feel free to reach out to me. You're going to find all my information in the description to this video on the YouTube channel. And yeah, later this evening, I am going to go ahead and write a blog post with these cards and have all of the supplies and everything ready for you. Unfortunately, it's not quite ready to go, but that will be coming very shortly later this evening. And if you're on YouTube, you can find the description. You can find the link in the description to this video. All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch over my camera. If you are here and watching live, go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know that you're here and watching me this evening, watching this fun demonstration. If you're watching the replay, welcome to you as well. And I hope that you'll leave me a comment and tell me what you think of tonight's cards. If you are watching me live and you notice any sound issues, if there's any echoing especially, please let me know. Because I'm really trying hard not to get those, but boy, oh boy, if I don't have everything just set perfectly, I definitely end up with some sound problems. So go ahead and let me know that too. All right, I'm going to jump right into this. I have two different cards that I'm going to share with you tonight. The first one is going to be a simple stamping card. That means I'm just going to use stamps, ink, and paper for it. So I'm going to set the stamp set and the dies aside because I've already gone ahead and put all my stamps that I need on the blocks. I'm going to pull out a piece of basic white. Again, when I get that blog post written, all of the dimensions will be on there, but just to let you know, this is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So just some basic white. And I'm going to start with some soft suede ink. And I'm going to start by stamping the window from this set. So I'm just going to ink this up and try to get this centered left to right, which is a little bit hard when I'm not looking directly over the paper, but hopefully that's not so bad. All right, so that was with some soft suede. Then I want to go ahead and grab some balmy blue ink. And with the balmy blue, I want to stamp some shutters on my window. So, all right. So I'm just going to ink up my shutters in balmy blue, and I will stamp those right here on the sides of my window. There's one, and we'll go ahead and stamp the other one right over here. There is the second one. All right. So probably could have gotten that a little bit closer. Again, it's hard to stamp these when I am trying not to get my head completely in the camera. So now I want to use my cinnamon cider. This is one of the outgoing in colors, one of the 2020-2022 in colors, which means that it will be retiring at the end of April as well. If you don't have this color and you want it, or you need to refill on cardstock or something, you should do that soon because it is available while supplies last. And when it is gone, it will be gone. So all right, so I just inked this up in cinnamon cider, and then I stamped off on a piece of scrap paper just because I wanted it a little bit lighter. And then I'm just going to stamp some on my cardstock here. I want to put just a little bit up here in the corner too. There we go. Just kind of add in a little bit of brick in there. And I'm hoping I'm getting everything straight. I'm kind of like stamping it on sideways. So, all right, now I want to use the little tiny pot. This is just a little tiny terracotta pot. So I'm going to stamp it with cinnamon cider. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp it straight on there. And I want to put just a little tiny plant in here. There's this really fun little plant that looks like it's just going over the corners. So I'm going to go ahead and just ink that up, and we'll just pop that right in our plant. So just like that. Super fun. All right. Well, I hope that this is showing up live for somebody. So the last thing I want to do is I'm going to add my sentiment to the front of this. And for my sentiment, I'm using the Misty Moonlight ink. And again, this is another one of those retiring ink colors. Really pretty blue. So yeah, and I'm just going to stamp the "Hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day" right under the window. Just like that. So just a really quick and easy stamps, ink, and paper card, because now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to grab some multi-purpose glue and just put a little bit of glue on the back of here. And then I have a piece of balmy blue, and this balmy blue is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I'm just going to pop that on the front. Then I have a piece of basic white thick cardstock, and I'm just going to go ahead and fold this in half on the score line. This is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. Just give that a nice crease too. And then grab my Stampin Dimensionals, of course, and let's add some Stampin Dimensionals to the back of this. So let me see, I just want to put like 5 on here. I always like to do 1 in each corner and 1 in the center. Sometimes I do 2 in the center. I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool and just pop the backs right off. I like to do this because it's just so quick and easy, and it corrals all those backs, so I can just take them all at once and put them in the trash. So this is just going to go on the front of basic white. And there is my super simple card, stamps, and ink, and paper. Simple stamping at its best. All right. I'm going to set that card aside, and now I'm going to show you a card that is a lot less simple stamping. So just trying to move all my stuff around. All right. I hope y'all can hear me and that this is coming through okay. So I'm going to do a really fun trick tonight, and I can't wait to share this with you. So here I have a piece of crumb cake. All right. So this is crumb cake cardstock, and this piece is 4 1/2 by 3 1/4. Now I want to put a brick pattern on this with the brick and mortar embossing folder, but I don't want it to go all the way across the front. I just want it to kind of be in parts. So what I'm going to do is I put my cardstock in the embossing folder, and now I have my platform, and I'm going to stick that on there. And then I have some pieces of cardboard. So I just took some thick pieces of cardboard, and all I'm going to do is just kind of lay these in the corners. And actually, I think I want to pull this one in over here, and then maybe this one up here. So I just cut some random shapes. See, I can't even decide what I want to do. It's always so challenging. All right, we'll do it like that. And then I'm going to put a regular cutting plate on the top. Now, normally, this is a 3D embossing folder. So normally you would put your special plate, which is probably either blue or gray. That would go on the top. It's a little bit thicker, but because I put that cardboard in there, we're not going to use that thick embossing plate. Instead, I'm going to use the regular cutting plate, and then I'm just putting an extra piece of paper. Now, if you do this at home, your cardboard will probably be different, a different width, a different thickness. And so you will have to kind of play with it and figure out what you need to put on as far as a shim. All right, so I just rolled that right through. There we go, and we'll take this off, and hopefully this worked. It is a little bit scary. All right, so there you can see I only have embossing on part of it. Part of it is still flat, and part of it is embossed. Isn't that fun? I really like that little trick. So I think I'm going to start doing that like on everything now. All right. Before I set this aside, I do want to go ahead and I'm going to stamp. Actually, no. I'm going to do some cutting, some stamping and cutting first. So I'm going to set that aside. And I want to grab the two bigger pots to begin with. And I'm going to use my cinnamon cider again. So with cinnamon cider ink, I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. We'll stamp one pot, and then I'll stamp the other pot. I just love those pots. I think they're so cool looking. And then I'm going to start stamping the leaves, the greenery. So I have this one. There's two different greeneries to this. So I'm going to start with this one that I'm going to stamp with Pear Pizzazz. So just ink this up in a little Pear Pizzazz, and I'll go ahead and stamp it right there. Now, along with the two different leaf bundles, leaf bunches, I don't know what they're called, the leafy bits of the plants. Along with those, there are two different flowers too. So we're going to stamp two different flowers. Now, the second one, I'm going to stamp in Just Jade. This is another one of the retiring ink colors. Got a lot of them on this card. All right, so there's my Just Jade. And I'm going to grab my Bumblebee, another retiring ink color. This is like an ink color card. I'm going to grab that Bumblebee. And now, should I grab the right flowers? I think it's this one. I'm going to ink this up in Bumblebee. And I am just going to stamp that right up here. It kind of like fits in those little holes. So there's the Bumblebee flowers. And then I'm going to pull out my Calypso Coral, and I am going to stamp the other flowers with Calypso Coral. So the different leaf bunches have different florals on them as well. All right. Get this lined up. And there are our leaves. Aren't those fun? Just loving them. All right. Now, what else do I need to stamp? I need to stamp a shelf. I want a shelf for these to sit on. So I'm going to grab my crumb cake ink, and I'm going to stamp the shelf with crumb cake. So we'll just put that right here. There we go. And now I want to cut all these pieces out. Hi, Kimberly. So glad you are here. I'm glad somebody is here. All right. So I'm going to cut these out with my mini cut and emboss machine. This is on sale this month too. It is 20% off as well. And it's going to go up in price in the new catalog. So if it's been on your wish list, now is definitely a really good time to get it. All right. So I'm going to start with the number 1 plate. And then I'm going to put my number 2 plate on, which is my cutting plate. Now let's see if we can cut all these at once. I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and just snip off some of the extra white. So I'm going to put that on and grab, is this the right one? No. Grab the other one and set that on there. Now I do have some washi tape that I pulled out for tonight because these are just moving all over the place and they got to be really precise. So I'll just tape that down. And then I have my little pot. Now I did take this washi tape and I put it on my pants first and pulled it off, which let it kind of like took off some of the extra stickiness. So hopefully it won't stick to my paper. Hi, Amanda. I'm so glad that you are here and watching tonight too, from Minnesota. All right. So just stick that one down. Now I want to cut out my other, I think I'm going to have to do the shelf separately, but here's my other plant. We'll line that one up, put some washi tape on it, and then put my other number 2 plate on top, and we'll just run this through. Whoa. Make a little, what do I want to say? A little earthquake on my table here. All right, I'm going to take those pieces off. And then I'm going to grab my shelf, and I'm going to do the same thing with the shelf. So here is the die, and I got to make sure this does have like a direction to it. It fits better one way than the other. So, all right, hopefully I got it there. And we'll just cut this out as well. And then we can start putting this card together. So, squeeze that through. And we'll pop that out of the way. And there's our shelf. Oh, you can see that tore a little bit. I hope the shelf makes it through. This is why I always run it over my pants first, because you want to make sure you get a little bit of that sticky off, because otherwise a lot of times the washi is too sticky and it will tear your paper. So, all right, so we'll take off these little ones. There's that plant. I guess I could have done a better job lining that up. And then my little pots. There we go. Lots of little pieces on this one. But I think it's really pretty the way it turned out. That's why I wanted to show you two different cards, so I could show you how you can use this set to make really simple, stamps, ink, and paper cards, but then you can also take it and make some really, more fancy, more stepped up cards. So, all right, there's our pieces. Now, I have over here someplace, I hope it's not lost. Oh, there it is. I have a whisper white or basic white circle that I already cut out. So I'm going to pull back in that piece of crumb cake that I partially embossed with that partial embossing there. And I want to put my circle on here. And I'm going to adhere this with just a little bit of multi-purpose glue. And it's going to go flat right on here, kind of towards the bottom, kind of over to the right side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in that same Mother's Day greeting. I'm just going to get the rest of the blue off. And I'm going to use the soft suede, and I'm going to stamp that Mother's Day greeting up in the upper left-hand corner. So it's just going to go right up there. And then I want to use my linen thread. We're going to tie some linen thread on here because I like ribbons and bows on everything. All right, so I'm just going to wrap this around and hopefully tie myself a nice little bow. Sometimes I have trouble with the linen thread. It likes to not tie tight bows, but I think it'll be okay. Hopefully, we'll see. All right. It's not too bad. I'll give that a tug, kind of pull it out. Whenever I am tying bows, I always hold on to the center as I pull it out to make it smaller or bigger. That just helps keep it a little bit tighter. And I'll trim off the end. Now I need my dimensionals and my mini dimensionals because we are going to do some serious dimensionaling things here. So I'm going to start with a shelf. I'm going to put some minis on the shelf. I can get them in the right spot and pull off the backs with my Take Your Pick tool. And this shelf, I'm going to put it kind of right. So it's going to go kind of right over this. All right, I want my bow to go a little bit more this way. The bows never do exactly what I want, it seems like. So then this is going to come right in here and just kind of go over that bow just a little bit. There we go. And now I want to add my pots. I'm going to start by adding the bigger pot, and this is going to go flat on here. So this is going to be my first one. It's going to go back here. And we'll go ahead and put the flowers in it. There's my flowers. Oh, it's so full and bright. All right, and then we'll take some dimensionals. So I got my full dimensionals here. We'll just stick one at the back of that pot, and we'll stick a couple on my flowers here too. So on this plant. And then once again, I'm just going to pull out my take your pick tool and pop those backs off. And then this pot is going to go right over here. Oops. And these flowers are going to go right on top of that pot. Isn't that fun? So cute. All right, so now I have a piece of basic white. The basic white is, let me see, this was 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. The basic white is 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. And again, all the dimensions are going to be on my website later tonight. Aw, thanks, Kimberly. I'm glad you think that bow turned out well. I don't know, that one's a little bit wonky. All right, and then just adhere that to it. Now I have a couple pieces of pear pizzazz, and one I have embossed with the Tasteful Textile embossing folder. This embossing folder, we just found out it is retiring as well, and I am so sad because it is my favorite. It just gives this nice little soft texture to the background. And then I have a piece of pear pizzazz, and this is 4 1/4 by 11. And I am just going to fold it in half. I scored it at 5 1/2. So just line that up. It's a little bit off. Sometimes if you pull the ends down and you kind of hold the ends in just the right spot, you can force it, but you can also turn it over and make sure the biggest side is on the front, which is usually what I do. So then I'm going to adhere this smaller piece of pear pizzazz, and this is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And this is going right on the front too. Just like that. And then we'll take some dimensionals. More dimensions on this card, right? And I got one more card to share with you too. I'm not going to make it for you, but I have another card sample to share with you. So put those dimensionals on and then pop the backs off. Oops. Get all 5 of them. And then this just goes right on the front. Really sweet Mother's Day card to send to your mother, or I don't know, your daughter, somebody else. All right, let me show you. So here is this first and second card we made, and then I have a third sample for you. And here is the third sample. Now on this sample, I did that partial embossing again with the brick and mortar embossing folder that I did on the last card. So you can see there, this time I have that same window. You can see the window from the other card, but I actually cut it out with the die cuts, and I add a few of the brushed brass butterflies to the front of there too. So those are my 3 different cards this evening. Yeah, I know. So sad that Tasteful Textile embossing folder is retiring. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I love all the new stuff in the new catalog, and I cannot wait to get it and share card ideas with it, with all the new stuff with you too, because I think it's going to be fabulous. So thank you all for joining me tonight. I'm glad that you could make it. I will hopefully see you again next Thursday night when I go live with more tips, tricks, and inspiration. Have a fabulous evening. Bye-bye.